Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever, wondered what it would really feel like to fall in love with a creature of myth? Not just like a handsome prince, but something ancient, powerful, maybe even dangerous, like a dragon. Because that's exactly the kind of fascinating territory we're exploring today. We're doing a deep dive into a review summary of Dalen McClain's fantasy romance novel, Dragons Don't Cry. It's book one in her Fire Chronicles series. And our mission here isn't just to, list plot points. We want to pull out the really juicy insights from this review, understand the core of the book, the emotional stuff, and figure out what makes this specific dragon romance click so well with readers. We're digging for those surprising bits, the hooks. So let's jump right in. The source talks about this central idea, a civilization where dragons choose a claiming bride every 100 years. But listen, this isn't some fancy ball. The review calls it an extremely harsh process. Survival is tied to, well, expectations and luxury. Sounds like tension right off the bat.
Oh, absolutely. High stakes from page one. And right into that world walks Acacia, the human heroine. The review describes her as brave, stubborn, fearless. But what's really interesting is how she enters the scene. While other girls are, understandably, terrified, Acacia apparently challenged the claimers by organizing a party.
A party. Serious.
Yeah, I mean, talk about unexpected. It just tells you immediately she's not going to be passive. She's defiant.
Yeah.
Which feels like a pretty bold move in that kind of
It
situation.
definitely grabs you, right? It sort of flips that damsel trope immediately.
Okay, and then there's Bastion, the red dragon.
Huh.
Powerful, angry,
Right.
but also apparently very attractive. But here's the part that got me. The Ree says he has been waiting for the right partner for years. And the really chilling detail, several of his previous consorts had died. So Acacia isn't just chosen to be a partner, she's chosen to change his life. Which, given that backstory,
Wow.
exactly, that history with his past consorts
Oh.
just adds this immediate layer of tragedy and danger, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you ask, okay, what happened to them? And how is Acacia going to survive this?
Right. So with stakes that high, how does their relationship actually, play out? Let's get into the emotional dynamics. It doesn't sound like smooth sailing. The review mentions they start with differences and there are humorous clashes and dialogues. It seems like real energy there.
Yeah, not just instant sparks, but this mix of conflict and respect, which often feels more real, I think.
Totally.
But what's really fascinating here, and what gives this story its emotional weight, is how dragon emotions work. These aren't just big lizards. They have this huge capacity for love. They're immortal, but they love from the depths of their soul. But here's the kicker. If their partner dies early, the dragon faces complete emotional pain, and they have to remain alone and mourn for 100 years.
100 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. A century of grief. Think about that. And connecting that back, it completely changes the game for the claiming ritual, right? The weight on the dragon's choice, the fate of the bride. It's immense. It's not just romance. It's this gamble against a potential century of absolute agony.
That puts incredible pressure on Acacia, doesn't it? It's not just her life, but his potential century of sorrow.
Precisely. It adds this profound undercurrent to everything.
Okay, so you have these intense emotions, this high-stakes ritual. Does the world actually feel like it supports that? What about the setting? The review mentioned something about realms.
Right. It's built on a complex realm system, so different dimensions or worlds where dragons and humans kind of coexist. And, well, this is where the review notes some readers get confused about how different realms connect.
Ah, okay. So maybe a bit intricate there.
Potentially, yeah. It sounds ambitious, maybe asks the reader to piece things together a bit.
But despite that potential confusion, it seems the author really succeeds in painting the picture. The review praised the bold and clear descriptions, said it brings the world to life, wedding rituals, dragon myths, politics.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Sounds like it's rich with detail, even if mapping out all the interrealm stuff takes focus.
All right, so we've got the stakes, the feels, the world. Let's talk about reading it. Why are people apparently tearing through this book? The review calls it a fast-paced story, a one-sitting read for many. That's pretty impressive for fantasy romance.
It really is. And a big part of that seems to be the humor and wit in the dialogue. Those clashes between Acacia and Bastion often create humor.
Right, the banter.
Exactly. And that's crucial, isn't it? It gives you that balance against all the heavy emotional stuff, a bit of lightness.
Yeah, those clashes make it feel grounded, more real somehow. And it sounds like it all adds up to an emotional roller coaster. That phrase really stood out. Filled with love, separation, humor, and affection. The review even quotes readers saying they laughed while shedding tears. What does that mix tell you? Laughter and tears.
It tells me the story really gets you invested. You're not just following a plot, you're feeling it all with the characters. When a book can pull off both extremes like that and make you laugh and genuinely feel sad, that's usually a sign of strong writing and characters you care about.
That sounds incredibly engaging. Okay, but look, no book pleases everyone, right? What were some of the, let's say, points for discussion? Any critiques mentioned?
Yeah, there were a couple of things. This raises an important point about pacing in romance. Some readers apparently felt the love journey progresses a bit quickly.
Oh, okay. She's fast.
Maybe for some, yeah,
Mm.
like it affects the emotional depth. Suggests that maybe the fast pace, while engaging, might have skipped over some of the slower build-up some readers really enjoy in romance.
That's a common trade-off, I suppose. Keep it moving versus letting it breathe. Makes sense. And the second critique. Does it go back to the world building?
It does, yeah. Kind of mirrors what we touched on earlier.
Hmm.
While the world is vivid, the info on the realms and the background sometimes feels concise, even though it unfolds gradually. So some readers wish for more expansion, more detail.
Okay, so less a flaw, maybe, and more a case of, we liked this world, give us more.
That's how it sounds, yeah. Like the foundation is strong, and readers are just hungry for, more lore, more connections. Not necessarily a deal breaker, but something people noticed.
Got it. So, recapping for everyone listening, if you're looking for your next read, Dragons Don't Cry seems like a good bet if you enjoy. Well, dragon romance, obviously. Alpha male dragons, brave heroines, fast pace, and that good old will they won't they chemistry.
Exactly. And it works as a standalone, which is great.
Yeah.
But the review does mention cameos from characters in other series, like the Fang Chronicles. So it hints at a bigger universe out there, which can be fun if you get hooked.
Right. A little bonus for existing fans or a gateway for new ones. Okay, so let's leave you with this thought to chew on. Given that intense century-long grief we talked about the one dragon's face if they lose their partner, how does that one fact completely change what happily ever after even means in this kind of story? And what kind of unbelievable pressure does that put on someone like Acacia? Knowing her survival isn't just about her, but about potentially saving her dragon from 100 years of, well, unbearable sorrow. Something to really think about if you decide to dive into this unique world.